Okay, so moving in on to our next panel, we've had kind of a through line of a theme here, and that is with all of this data, with the importance of consistent data and all of the iterations and innovation that comes with that, why should there be one data source and one data standard from country to country to country? So our next panel is going to focus on that. Our moderator is going to be Patrick Pichette, who is the VP of Realtor.ca. Patrick, do you want to come up and introduce your panelists?
Thank you, Joe. Bonjour à tous. Bienvenue au tout premier Forum international du MLS. Welcome to this historic event. Very honored to be here. Although the group is fairly small, the number of influential real estate technology experts in this room is quite impressive. So congratulations to Seppi, Riso, and Realtina for putting this event together. I think you've lit a match, and I think there's tremendous potential going forward for this event. So in terms of the panelists, I'm going to ask them to come up, and we'll get going with introductions. So Ileana, Andrew, Cezar.
Good morning.
Good morning, yeah. So let's jump right in with some introductions. We'll start with you, Ileana. Tell us about you and your organization.
These days I'm representing MLS.ro, MLS Romania. We are actually competitors in the real estate market, my company and the founder's company. However, within the MLS, we are the greatest co-working and cooperating entities. So going back 20 years ago, I was licensed in Florida, practiced for 6 years, and then moved back to Romania and continued to practice. I was delighted to find out that there is an MLS in Romania, and there is a professional association. So since then, my careers continued to develop the way I learned in the States.
Great, wonderful. Andrew.
Hi, everyone. My name is Andrew Coca. I'm the CEO of Modern.tech. I've been in real estate for about 10 years now. And Modern.tech is a custom software development firm. We innovate specifically in MLS technology and prop tech. And companies approach us to build some of the bigger initiatives. For example, association management, to MLS custom independent databases, or even basic things like property search, home search. We have experience in home showings, home tours. So we've been all around on the product side of custom development in real estate.
Great, thanks, Andrew. Mon ami québécois, César.
Good morning, bonjour. Who is CENTRIS? So CENTRIS is a software development company, a technology company. We operate the MLS for the province of Quebec. We have about 16,000 members, but we also develop software for the real estate industry. And when I'm talking about software, is we provide B2B software and B2C software. So, for example, we have CENTRIS.ca, which is the #1 portal, public portal in Quebec. Personally, I've been in real estate for about 15 years now. Of course, I'm coming from technology side, so I've seen this evolve. We had the fights that you guys have here. As a CTO, business strategy, I'm helping with the path, the technology path to serve the business and to choose the right product to be able to make a mark on the real estate market.
Merci, César. Thank you for those introductions. Let's start off with a very basic question. Why are global standards important? So let's start with you, Ileana.
A global standard is like universal language. Imagine if in this room everyone spoke their own language. We would probably not be able to understand each other. So although I'm in a technology panel, I am the beneficiary of the common language. So having a common standard, it helps us to to collaborate. It helps us and the technology work better together. And I think without common standards, you don't have a foundation to build on.
Any thoughts, Andrew?
Yeah, I like to think of it from a software development standpoint and an innovation standpoint. I mean, without a standard, you're going to spend 80% of your dev time and money on figuring out the data and maybe 20% innovating. And that should really be the opposite, where you have data that is provided to you in a standardized fashion. You can spend your time and money actually innovating, and that's going to deliver more value to the consumer. And so without standards, it's hurting up and down the value chain. It's less innovation for the consumer. It's less business value for the company itself. And it's harder to do things like partnerships or even be acquired by another company who might be using data completely differently. And so it's making it harder for businesses and for consumers.
Cezar?
I see two questions in there, why standards and why global standards. I'm not sure I have to make the case for why standards. I think we see it helps the environment and everything, and it comes back to my experience when I started in real estate. They integrated 5 different systems to kind of create what's now CENTRIS and what's now in the whole province. So in terms of evolution, I think every new company is you're going to go through these phases as you develop products, right? So when we started, we had to distribute data to over 300 different players in the field, right? To the agent for his website, to the agency, to the franchisor, to send all this data back to them, right? So that's 2006, 2008 time frame I was looking at. When you look at that, we had to create some what we called back then recipes because we didn't see ourselves creating 300, 350 different models to send this data. So we created what now I can call it like a provincial standard. But that was to satisfy all local needs. And after that, as you go up, we looked at whatever different standards and the RETS, and they've seen the definition from Giselle, what the RETS is, and now RISO. So now we are fully RISO certified. For us, it's open up the market, the opportunities, the integration. I think we'll talk about the advantages of this a bit later. So that's and why global standards. The second part of the question. Well, I think Sam mentioned Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. Imagine financial markets, aviation. We wouldn't be here without global standards. We take them for granted. We don't see them anymore. When is going to be that true for real estate? Probably in 5 to 10 years, maybe faster, if the adoption goes faster. So we take advantage of the standards. We don't see them anymore. But now in the real estate, it's the time to adopt those standards. And again, it's for real estate. The time is ripe. I think that the markets are global. We're talking a global economy, right? So real estate is just the time now to follow that path. It's happening, whether we want it or not. And what I wish for is in 5 years from now, we don't talk about it. We take it for granted. It's there. Data talks to each other, right? Let's talk about the business.
Yeah, great response, Cezar. If we go back to Sam's presentation from this morning, one slide that really stood out to me was the slide on Bluetooth and how it took 10, 15 years to really start to see some growth in adoption. So the good news, and I agree with you, everybody in this room believes in a standard, and I'm curious to see what the world is going to be like in our industry in 10 years from now. Ileana, I want to come back to you. So Cezar jumped into how they've implemented standards in the province of Quebec. How about you in Romania? How have you actually adopted and implemented standards?
That was also a slide that stuck with me, and I identified ourselves and our journey with MLS Romania as being on that long and boring evolution, almost no evolution. However, I think people are starting to see the value of standards, and we have the education, we have the rules, and we have the software. So together with all these items, now our members and our consumers see the benefits, and it's not easy to adopt such system. I believe our colleague Sorin Udrea started in 2006 in Romania. That's where all that boring line started. And now we are in 2023. It's a lot of time where we don't see much evolution. However, for our market, it's a huge evolution, and I can't wait to see that line going up. And the challenges of adopting these standards are many in this part of the world, starting with the fact that exclusive representation is not the norm in our profession. Then continuing with the fact that rules and regulations, imposed rules and regulations, especially in countries like ours with a communist background where you didn't have no say in your life, then an MLS comes and imposes the rules. People don't like that. And then continuing with the culture and connected with the exclusive listings, we've done this way. We've done the business this way. Why change if it works? So I think all these together are challenges that makes us as real estate professional fight with the system, and it's hard to implement. However, it's all worth it. And looking back, when I came back to Romania and I thought, oh, this is a beautiful market. It's the same like I'm used from the States. Now I'm looking at Romania and I'm saying I'm so proud of it, because although we are a country somewhere in the Eastern Europe, we can be proud of what we implemented. We have rules, we have regulations, we have education, and now we have a working MLS system through MLS Romania, and I'm so proud of that.
Yeah, you should be proud. Congratulations, by the way. You're a pioneer. Cezar, I want to come back to you. So Ileana talked a bit about challenges, barriers to implementation of standards in her market. You must have encountered some challenges along the way.
Yeah, and I think we got the easy part because the MLS was there, so we didn't have to do that uphill battle to change mentalities and that. So I'm happy to be on the technology side. I find it easier, and I salute you guys all in Europe that's trying to do that battle. But for me, I'm looking from the data standard. Like when you look at, and that's again back when I started integrate those systems to try to set up a standard or to adopt one, you look at the details and look at the data itself. So it's fragmentations, it's inconsistencies, the quality of the data that kind of slows down the process, right? And try to say, okay, what this field means for that part of the world in your case, but for me, in that part of the province and on the other one. So data quality, data consistency, it makes the work a bit difficult. It slows you down, but it's worth it at the end. When you have your standard, then you're happy because you can build on a sane environment. So that's the part that I like when you adopted a standard.
Okay, thank you. Just moving on. So as we saw from Saul's presentation earlier, there's been MLS rules and systems in place for a while now in the U.S., in Canada. That was a great presentation, by the way. And I think Saul probably just shared 5% of the entire history, and I think he should turn that into a series of podcasts or video at some point. It was fascinating content. But so Andrew, I want to turn it over to you. So if I'm in a market that wants to establish more structure, cooperation, is it as simple as copying and pasting a system from one market to another?
Well, I think the biggest challenge right now, especially looking at Europe and looking at, like Giselle said last presentation, the portals already exist here. They're preempting the MLS. And so if we were to copy and paste the MLS, I don't think the prop tech companies and the portals would much appreciate that, and the consumers wouldn't want to change behavior because they're already going and inputting listings or going and approaching brokerages in a certain way. And so I think instead of coupling the MLS database with the MLS front end that you see in the United States, a more independent database architecture is needed. Because what if in Europe, for example, we had a database and the MLS database wasn't coupled with that vendor's front end? Well, then you could feed that data into the portal and let them be a front end of choice and let that portal write directly to the database, and they get a stamp that says MLS. And so instead of changing consumer behavior and being antagonistic to the portals that currently exist, I think a much different approach is needed.
Ileana, I saw you nodding your head. Do you agree?
I agree that Europeans don't like copy and paste. I agree that I believe in inspire yourself from other systems. look at your market and see what works, and then adapt with the change and the new technology and work the way it fits your needs. Looking at our local market, we were inspired by our North American friends from NAR, RISO, and all the organizations that are continuing to support us in our development stage. And we didn't just copy and paste. We looked at the model, we asked ourselves if it would work. Sometimes we didn't believe in it. Sometimes we just believed in it and worked with it. And I think every market and every European market has their own particular challenges and their own mindset. And it's basically looking at everything as a whole. And I truly believe that copy and paste, it's more than copy and paste. It's copy and paste and make it work, and inspire yourself and attend to these type of conferences and see the future with like AI. We don't know what's gonna be, but we know it's gonna be part of our evolution. And that's how I believe for each country that it's attending this conference. I was talking to some of my friends from other countries where MLS doesn't exist. And it's like seeing with the eyes of your mind something that you don't know how it works, and yet it can work in our countries.
Thank you. Cezar, any thoughts?
And I was thinking, being a techie guy, copy, paste, adapt. Or I don't know. I don't think that's right. But
no, I'm talking from the real estate standpoint.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not a realtor. I'm not an agent, so I don't pretend to know that. Well, I know being in the industry. Looking, I think I see a difference from the business model that needs to change, and what I'm wondering is the European model that develops and the MLS model that also evolves, right? Like 5 years from now, where the MLS is going to be on the European model is going to be when the tangent is there. But it's much simpler in the data side, because no matter why all our phones working here, right? It's, again, for data, for me, it's easy. So there is a standard adopted, adapted, because it's flexible enough. So you already have something to work with, and I think it's less of a battle that we have on the business model side.
So you're happy you're a techie guy?
I'm happy being on the tech side.
Thanks. I'm going to wrap up with one final question, but a really important one. So there's 35 countries represented here. Everybody's here to learn. If everybody took away just one insight from this session, what do you think that should be? Let's start with you, Ileana.
It's hard to choose one thing from everything that was discussed in these 2 days. However, I think the main idea is that it is possible for the countries that don't have an MLS system. It is possible to adopt standards that are universal to all of us and can help us communicate between ourselves and our countries. And I guess the main idea is just believe and it will happen.
Yeah, I like a lot of what was said. I echo what Sam originally said, which was this is about efficiency and bringing efficiency to the market, to the transaction, and ultimately efficiency to the development off of data and what we can do with data. I think we do have the opportunity to create this to a vision that we all align on instead of let it evolve on its own without our guidance. And so I think this is great that we've come together, and we need to continue to see this through.
Couple of things, and I try to keep it short.
Cezar, we said just one.
Well, yeah, I know, it's difficult.
There's time for two insights.
I'll try to stick with one. Again, what I think out of this, and I see the challenges that you have in Europe, I think the technology side, it's easy, like in a sense of, when we're talking, there is a data standards in itself, focus on the business. Just the data, they just use the standard that's there, implement as much as you want now, build on that and into the future. For me, data, it's easy now. And I understand what your challenges are. It's elsewhere. It's in the business model, it's mentality, fragmentation, and all those changes that you have to do. data for me, it's easy. Let's just adopt a standard. It's important because you'll get there anyway, sooner or later. I think it's coming for the real estate. A global standard is important. I only wish that we don't talk about it, like we don't talk about the standard that got us here in an airplane, right? Thank you.
Great answer, thank you. My takeaway over the last couple of days has been real estate is local, but its reach is global, and I think that's why these, I'm really excited that we're talking about these standards at a global level, so congrats. Thank you, that was a great discussion, and look forward to having more conversations with everybody over lunch. Thank you, merci.
Merci beaucoup.
Okay, so we are 15 minutes ahead of schedule. It looks like lunch is being served right now. So I'll leave this up to you, a quick straw poll. We can do an hour-and-a-half lunch and be back here at 1:45, which means we end the day a little earlier, or we could stick to the original schedule, come back here at 2, and end the day at 4. So raise a show of hands who wants a 1:45 return. Sold. Done. We'll see you here at 1:45. Thank you, everyone.